Processing is often portrayed as the enemy of nutrition, yet some of the most effective public health victories of the past century were achieved precisely through deliberate, well-designed processing. Fortification and enrichment show that when processing is guided by nutritional goals rather than convenience alone, staple foods can become powerful vehicles for preventing deficiency, protecting vulnerable populations, and improving population-level health without changing eating habits or cultural traditions. This is not a theoretical claim. It is supported by decades of data from multiple continents. Fortification refers to the addition of nutrients that were not originally present in significant amounts, while enrichment usually means restoring nutrients lost during processing, such as milling. Globally, wheat flour, maize flour, and rice have become central targets because they are consumed regularly by large segments of the population. Iron, folic acid, thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, and sometimes vitamin B12 or zinc are the most commonly added nutrients. These choices are not arbitrary. They reflect nutrients that are both commonly deficient and technically stable enough to survive processing, storage, and cooking. The public health impact has been profound. Mandatory folic acid fortification of flour in many countries has led to dramatic reductions in neural tube defects, often by 20 to 50% within a few years of implementation. Iron fortification has improved iron status in populations where anemia was widespread, particularly among women of reproductive age and children. B vitamin enrichment has reduced classical deficiency diseases such as beriberi and pellagra, conditions that were once common wherever refined grains became dietary staples without compensatory measures. These outcomes demonstrate that processed foods, when thoughtfully engineered, can quietly deliver life-saving nutrients at scale. One of the greatest strengths of fortification is that it does not require behavior change. People do not need to learn new recipes, adopt unfamiliar foods, or increase spending. Nutrients are delivered through foods already eaten daily, making compliance nearly universal. This is especially important in low-income settings, where access to dietary diversity, supplements, or fortified specialty products may be limited. From a systems perspective, fortification is efficient, equitable, and cost-effective, often costing only a few cents per person per year, while delivering substantial health returns. Processed staples are uniquely suited for this role because of their consistency. Industrial milling and centralized production allow for controlled dosing and standardized nutrient delivery. This predictability is difficult to achieve with whole foods alone, whose nutrient content varies by soil, season, storage, and cooking method. In this sense, processing provides a form of nutritional reliability that traditional diets sometimes lack under modern conditions of food insecurity and urbanization. At the same time, fortification is not without limitations, and a positive analysis must include these trade-offs honestly. Enrichment rarely replaces everything lost during refining. Fiber, phytonutrients, healthy fats, and many trace compounds found in the bran and germ are not restored. Fortified white flour may prevent deficiency diseases, but it does not replicate the full metabolic benefits of whole grains, such as improved gut health and glycemic control. This means fortification should be seen as a safety net, not a substitute for dietary quality. There are also biological nuances. Iron fortification improves population iron status overall, but absorption varies depending on individual needs, gut health, and dietary context. Excess iron can be problematic for some individuals, particularly those with genetic conditions affecting iron metabolism. Similarly, synthetic folic acid behaves differently from naturally occurring folates, and high intakes may mask certain deficiencies in rare cases. These concerns do not negate the value of fortification, but they underline the need for careful dosing, monitoring, and periodic policy review. Quality control is central to success. Nutrient levels must be accurately measured, evenly distributed, and stable throughout the food's shelf life. Overfortification can be as harmful as underfortification, while inconsistent application undermines trust and effectiveness. For policymakers, This requires regulatory oversight, laboratory testing, and collaboration with producers. For consumers, transparency and labeling matter. Knowing what is added, in what form, and at what level empowers people to make informed choices, especially those combining fortified foods with supplements. Another important consideration is cultural fit. Fortification works best when it respects existing dietary patterns. Rice fortification programs, for example, have had mixed success depending on whether fortified kernels match the taste, appearance, and cooking behavior of traditional rice. Programs that ignore sensory or cultural preferences often face resistance, while those that adapt technology to local expectations achieve better uptake and long-term impact. From a broader perspective, fortification illustrates a critical principle. Processing is not inherently good or bad. Its nutritional value depends on intent, design, and context. Ultra-processing aimed solely at shelf life, hyperpalatability, or profit can undermine health, but processing aimed at nutrient delivery, safety, and accessibility can strengthen it. The same industrial capacity that produces refined starches and sugars can also deliver iron, folate, and B vitamins to millions who need them. For consumers, the most constructive stance is neither blind trust nor blanket rejection. Fortified staples can be valuable, especially for those with limited access to diverse diets, higher nutrient needs, or increased risk of deficiency. Pairing fortified grains with whole foods, legumes, vegetables, and fermented foods enhances their benefits while compensating for what enrichment cannot provide. For policymakers, fortification should be continuously evaluated, adjusted to emerging evidence, and integrated with broader strategies that promote dietary diversity rather than replace it. Ultimately, fortification and enrichment show that nutrition progress does not always come from eating less or returning to an idealized past. Sometimes it comes from using modern tools intelligently to solve real problems at scale. When processing is aligned with public health rather than convenience alone, it becomes not a compromise, but a quiet ally in building healthier populations.